The fog of war hung in the air as the second battle of Moytura unfolded. The godlike Tuatha Dé Danann fought bravely against the monstrous creatures called Fomori, and it seemed to be an even battle, when suddenly a giant figure approached through the fog. A giant whose mere appearance aroused fear in the hearts of the Tuatha. 4 warriors of the Fomorians climbed this giant statue to help open its enormous eyelid. For some Tuatha Dé Danann, it would be the last thing they've ever seen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the probably best known Fomorian from Irish mythology, Balor of the Evil Eye. Balor wasn't just any Fomorian, but the mightiest king. His name alone woke fear in the hearts of his enemies. He is best known as Balor na Siúla Nimhe, Balor of the Evil Eye, but he's also known as Balor Béanach, Balor the Smiter. He is the son of Buranach, the grandson to Nate, husband of Caelan, and father to Éanna. He is the king of the Fomorians, the dark and demonic antagonists of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and his appearance resembles the appearance of a cyclops from Greek mythology, or even Ysbaddaden from Welsh mythology. His most famous attribute is his eye, whose gaze brings death and destruction to everything it touches. And, well, that makes him to an embodiment of the scorching sun. But how did he get his power? Even though he belongs to a race that is often depicted as supernatural and monstrous, Balor wasn't born with the power that made him powerful and famous. It's more likely that he once had 2 healthy eyes. But one day, young Balor followed his father's droids out of curiosity and witnessed their rituals and how they brew a potion. Once they left the cauldron with the potion unsupervised, Balor's curiosity got the best of him, and he looked inside. But by doing so, the poisonous fumes of the potion entered one of his eyes, transforming it and giving it the power of death. Since that day, everything his gaze fell upon was bound to die. Obviously, he was careful to hide his gaze from his own people to not harm them, and so he always kept his eye closed. But as Balor grew and grew, becoming the giant he finally was, the eyelid he never opened became so heavy that it took the help of several men to open it. But of course, this eye became a powerful asset in battle, and so it didn't take a long time for Balor to rise in the ranks of the Fomorians, becoming the most powerful leader of them all. In some legends, it's even described more powerful. So powerful indeed, that it took several layers of cloth to keep it cool and hidden from the world. And if needed, the cloth would be removed one by one, freeing the eye's power step by step, beginning with the power to bring plants to wither, and ending with the power that the land that was touched by his gaze caught fire and remained bleak from then on. In any case, the Eye of Balor is so popular in Irish folklore that until this day, the evil eye in Ireland is known as Siúl Valor, Eye of Balor. But there's actually more to Balor's story than just the power of his eye. The same day he got the power of his eye, he also got a prophecy from a druid. And that druid told him that he will rise in power, but one day will die at the hand of his son or grandson. Well, it came to be that Balor only had one child, a daughter named Éanna. But he was so terrified of the prophecy that he wanted to make sure that the prophecy couldn't come true. But how do you ensure that your daughter wouldn't get a son? Well, actually, Balor had an answer to this question. No father, no son. To prevent the prophecy from coming true, he imprisoned his fair daughter Éanna in a tower his forefathers had built, Tor Mor, and he gave her a dozen of old hags to care for her. The hags were told under punishment of death never to mention the mere existence of anything other than female creatures to Éanna. She shouldn't even know men exist, let alone ever see one. Éanna grew to be a fair young maiden, and even though nobody ever mentioned the word man, she started to ask about the fishermen she saw from the window of her tower and the creatures she dreamt of. But the old hags stayed to their promise and didn't tell her anything. Balor could have been safe, but in the end it was his own fault that Aina met the man of her dreams. But I'm getting ahead of the story. Balor grew to feel too secure of the prophecy and continued to be a tyrant and a bandit, raiding ships and villages and all in all being the embodiment of evil. But no matter how many treasures he collected, he knew that there was one thing he could not possess: the magical green-spotted white cow Glasgovnian. A magical cow that could fill dozens of vessels full of milk and not run dry. But her owner, Gobnio the smith, was always careful not to give thieves a chance to take the cow away. But the cow had a tendency to wander away and always had to be watched by someone. And for the services of watching the cow, the smith would forge weapons for them. One day, a Tuatha Dé Danann called Cian MacCaint or McKinley visited the smith with his brothers, and while his brothers talked about business with the smith, Cian was tasked with watching the cow. There are various versions of what happened next. Either Balor disguised himself and tricked Cian, or he cast a spell causing Cian to fall asleep. Anyway, in the end, the result was that Balor was able to steal the cow, and Cian was eager to get it back. Cian soon learned that thanks to Balor's eye, which he probably would keep open to never let the cow out of his sight again, the only way to retrieve the cow would be over Balor's dead body. With the help of a wise spirit, Elaine and she, called Birog, Cian managed to trick the old hags guarding Aina and made his way into her bedchamber. Aina was a little bit confused but recognized him as the man from her dreams. What followed was a night of passion, resulting in the impregnation of Aina, and soon after she gave birth to 3 sons. When Balor got knowledge of this, he got furious and ordered the sons of his daughter to be killed. But thanks to the kind heart of one of the hags, one of the 3 sons had been rescued, without Balor's knowledge. This son was the famous god Lu. Lu was fostered by his uncle and grew to a very talented and strong man. He later even became king of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and it is his line from which the legendary heroes Fionn McCool and Cuchulainn derived. But those are topics for other videos. Back to Balor and fast forward to the Second Battle of Moytura. In the mythological cycle of Irish folklore, the twist between the Tuatha Dé Danann and the Fomorians ended in the Second Battle of Moytura. In that battle, Balor managed to kill the legendary Tuatha Dé Danann king Nuada. But before he was able to use the power of his destructive evil eye, Lu, who had become a champion of the Tuatha Dé Danann, pierced his eye. According to some legends, with a slingshot. According to others, with his legendary spear, one of the treasures of the Tuatha Dé Danann. But it doesn't really matter which weapon he used. In the end, Lu pierced Balor's eye, killing his grandfather and causing him, unable to close the eye while dying, to take 27 other Fomorians with him to death. Where his head fell to the ground, he burned the earth, creating Lu na Shul, the place of the eye in today's County Mayo. Even today, this lake drains into a deep hole from time to time. And so, by being greedy and stealing a magical cow, Balor made the prophecy about his own death come true. And he helped not only producing the man that killed him in the end, but also one of the greatest Irish gods and a line of heroes that influenced Ireland for generations. And that is the end of Balor of the Evil Eye. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you want to know more about Celtic mythology and the Fomorians and the Tuatha Dé Danann, take a look at my other videos. And if you happen to be Irish and caught me mispronouncing something, please let me know in the comments how to pronounce it properly. Goramul Morgoth. See you next time. Bye!